Hello and welcome everyone to the stream. I am CM Rinku, a community manager over here at Pearl Abyss, and today we have some very exciting news. We're going to be talking a lot about Margoria and all of the patch notes, as well as some events. So before anything else, I just want to mention that there will be a code at the end of the stream, so if you're waiting for that, it'll be at the very end after we recap everything. And also, as always, make sure you follow the stream for more Black Desert console content. So yes, today we have a lot to talk about, a lot of patch notes to go over, and I'm actually extremely excited to be talking about Margoria today because I myself personally have spent a lot of time playing Margoria, especially when it first released to PC. From doing the quest lines, to collecting all the knowledge, to many hours of sea monster hunting. I have done a lot, so I'm extremely excited to see what you guys do with the content. I'm excited to see what kind of guilds form, how much sea monster hunting you guys do, as well as the PvP out in the ocean. So let's get into it. I guess we should start with Margoria as a whole. It spans from Port Rat to Pirate Island. Now, Margoria, the ocean, is the entire ocean in between that area. And Port Rat, of course, is the new port on the new landmass across the entire ocean on the other side, the opposite side of where Pirate Island is. So there is a lot of content, a lot of stuff to do in between. Now, much like the desert, the Margoria Ocean, you're not going to be able to navigate without knowing where you're going. So if you access the minimap, it'll be gone. If you go on the map, you're not going to be able to see where you are in the game. So just like the desert, if you really want to know where you are, you can get a compass, but for everyone else, just hope that you know where you're going. You know, set sail, go in a straight path, try to make it to the other side, and you should be fine, but make sure you're properly equipped with the right boat, as a fishing boat is not going to be enough. I mean, it may be if you're extremely risky and know what you're doing, but for the average player, you might want a boat that you can fight back with. So that leads us into how are you going to sail this new ocean, especially if you can't navigate and if you're going to be destroyed with just like fishing boats. So that's where the new boats come in. There's an Inferior Sailboat, an Inferior Frigate, and if you have a guild, you may have access to the Guild Galley. Now, of course, all of these boats are going to be extremely difficult to build if you're comparing that to the fishing boats, as these boats are much more complex, they require a lot more materials, but they last forever, and they're well equipped with cannons. Now, the difference between the Inferior Sailboat and the Frigate, as these are probably going to be the two main boats you focus on, because these are the boats that you can own yourself without a guild. The Inferior Sailboat has 2 cannons, 1 on each side. The Inferior Frigate has double that, so 2 on each side, 4 total. So it's up to you which boat you want. They also have unique differences, and more about how you build these boats and how they interact with the ocean will be on the GM's note. So stay tuned for that, look up for that. If you're trying to figure out how to build these boats, but that's going to be the biggest hurdle of trying to get in the ocean is being equipped with a boat worthy of being on the ocean. So if you're going out in the ocean for the first time, make sure you have a boat. And if you don't have a boat, if you just want to explore the new areas and go to Port Rat, you can take the ferry. So there's a ferry that goes from Olvia all the way to Lemma Island. And from Lemma Island, there's a new ferry that will take you from Lemma Island to Port Rat. Although be careful, as there are sea monsters, and even if you take the ferry, you might want to be prepared for that. So I highly recommend bringing some HP potions. And that is just the beginning. These are just the basics. There's a lot to talk about. I'll also be trying to look at Twitch chat here and there, but there's so much to cover. I'm just going to keep going into it. So Port Rat is a new port, and it has a marketplace vendor along with several other NPCs. So there's going to be a lot of knowledge that goes along with all this, and as I mentioned earlier, there's going to be more quest lines. So we'll cover Port Rat a bit throughout all this, as it kind of has to do with all this new content, but sailing itself is actually a life skill. So to level up the life skill sailing, you'll actually need to sail in the Margoria Ocean. And of course, you'll know if you're actually in the Margoria Ocean if your minimap disappears, as that's kind of a giveaway that you're in the ocean. So assuming you're in that area where the minimap normally disappears, that's where you'll start gaining sailing experience through sailing in the ocean. Now, something else to keep in mind is only the person driving the boat, who's controlling the boat, steering the boat, and generally in control of where it's going will actually get the sailing experience. You have to be manually sailing through the ocean to get the experience. So if you're just freeloading off someone else's boat, you're not going to get the sailing experience that you might expect. But if you're going hard in the life skill of sailing, definitely sail your own boat and take your friends along with you if you want. Sailing, the life skill is so complex, I can't cover all of it, but I can say that there may be daily quests that give you a boost in sailing experience in the future, as well as sailing skills. So these new boats all include the sailing skills that you can use if you have a high enough scaling life skill level. And off the top of my head, I can't think of every single skill that your boats will have, but I do know that the one that most people go after is the skill that lets your boat go faster, as of course everyone wants to go faster, right? So I believe that this will be unlocked at skilled sailing, and that's pretty much what most people are going to aim towards, is getting that skilled sailing, getting that skill that lets you sail through the ocean even faster, and thus allowing you to go to Port Rat and back faster, which is always important. It's actually quite a voyage. If you want to go from one end to the other, it takes a while. It's not going to just be like a 5-minute sail. You're going to have to go through a lot of sea monsters and possibly other players, and as well as shipwrecks along the way. So definitely look out for that. And we're just scratching the surface. We'll also talk about sea monsters in a second. But on the topic of life skills, definitely bring your fishing rod with you if you're really into fishing. There are going to be different locations throughout the Furia Ocean, as well as, of course, the different islands around Port Rat and Port Rat itself, where you're going to find a lot of new fish. So there's a lot of new locations that you can fish, a lot of new fish to fish, and all locations are slightly different, so you might only be able to find one type of fish in one spot of the whole Margoria Ocean. So there is a lot taken there, even if you're just fishing. So there's sailing, there's fishing, and the last thing I should mention about life skilling is underwater gathering. So there's going to be new resources that you can actually gather underwater on the ocean floor, and these might be critical when you're trying to build things like the guild galley or even upgrades for your sailboat in the future. So definitely be aware of that. Something to take account of is there's actually a new quest line that you can get from the wharf manager at Port Rat. So if you're all the way across the ocean already at Port Rat, talk to the wharf manager and he'll give you a quest line that offers the Vadabin diving mask. Hopefully I said that name right. And this mask will actually let you breathe underwater longer. There's several ways to breathe underwater longer in the game, but if you don't have something on your head, you might want to do this quest line to get that taken care of, as it'll drastically improve the rate at which you can gather items underwater, because as soon as you run out of air, you have to surface, so the more underwater breathing time, the faster per hour you'll be able to obtain these new items. I personally remember going underwater trying to get glue from lobsters for hours on end because I just needed a lot of them for what I was making in the game. So that will definitely be something that you may want to look into, as well as like where to go, what spots are the best to get these new items like coral and lobsters. So there's a lot, even just for life skilling in outside of the sailing life skill. You got fishing, you got gathering, and these are going to be important for the players that want to utilize them. So it's a lot to take in. That's a lot to take in. I'm really curious on how you guys are going to deal with this. So, like, if you guys are going to go straight for the underwater gathering, or if you're just going to go straight for the sailing life skill and sink some other ships. So yeah, definitely show me your content. If you guys make sailing content, send it to me. I'd love to see it. And I'm sure there's going to be sailing guilds, right? I mean, if you guys are already planning on making a sailing guild, let me know. I'm really curious to see what you guys do. I'm curious to see if the Node War guilds actually go out and start sailing, or if there's going to be sailing only guilds. And you might be wondering, like, why are guilds going to take advantage of sailing? Well, there's a lot to go with it, and it mostly has to do with the sea monsters themselves. So I've been talking a lot about how dangerous the Margoria Ocean is going to be, right? And I haven't really mentioned why, and that's because of the sea monsters. And there's quite a few sea monsters. I think of a few names off the top of my head. There's Nine Sharks, Hekaru, several others, and there's also pirate ships. Angry, evil pirate ships that are going to come after you no matter what. Just treat them as monsters because they're going to aggro you and not leave you alone until you either get away or sink them. So All these sea monsters, including the enemy pirate ships, will all drop loot, which is going to be extremely important. And while some of the loot you'll be able to sell for silver, most of the loot, I believe, will actually be guild items. Now, you'll need these items to craft, like I said, I believe the guild galley, as well as some future ship upgrades. But something else you might not realize is you can sell these guild items for silver, but because they're guild items, they're going to give you silver in your guild bank, not your regular bank. So this is a huge concept as far as sea monster hunting in general, and you really have to work as a guild, because as you guys know, when you do guild payouts, you need a certain amount of members, and it gets distributed equally, or somewhat equally, depending on how the guild master chooses. So how you utilize sea monster hunting really depends on the guild that you're in and how you plan to do it. It's not like I can just go out and sea monster hunt alone and be fine. It's like, yeah, you can sea monster hunt on your own solo, but to truly benefit, you might want to be in a guild, so that way you can take advantage of the silver, get that sweet payout, and make a lot of money. So that's where guilds come in. It's gonna be extremely interesting to see how many guilds specifically go after sea monster hunting, or how guilds incorporate this in their node war schedules, etc., etc. So yeah, I'm super excited to see what you guys do, and I'm curious to see how many guilds are out there on sea, especially since killing a sea monster is not the only thing you can kill out there. You can also sink other players' ships, so really excited to see some ocean PvP. Now, it's going to be a lot of sea monsters. I believe there's going to be more sea monsters the farther in the Margoria Sea you get to. Of course, the sea monsters are separated in locations, so there might be a spot in the sea that's specifically good for 9 sharks or pirate ships, etc. So you guys are just going to have to go out and explore. Even if you don't have your mini-map or map, you can kind of navigate depending on which shipwrecks are where and what's what. So there's a huge ocean out there with a lot of content. So we went over Margoria, the ships you can make, the sailing life skill itself, which is going to be really cool to see people level up sailing and get those sailing skills, underwater gathering, fishing, and sea monsters. And last but not least, if you guys are into questing or just knowledge hunting at all, there are a lot of quest lines that involve Margoria that are going to be released alongside this. So you're going to have quest lines that take you from Port Rat and back, and I believe you'll also be able to explore the islands out there. And just a quick notice, there's a really, really, really cool island out there where I believe the only way to access it is to actually swim through an underground tunnel. Then you kind of emerge in the center of the island near a beach surrounded by mountains, and it is one of the coolest locations in the game, in my opinion. One of, maybe not my favorite, but it's definitely up there in the top 3. So if you're looking to take screenshots or videos, or to just create content in general, or even this is one of the places where you can catch rare fish, I would definitely recommend checking it out, and I believe some of the quest lines will take you through there, in addition to all the knowledge. So of course you're going to be getting knowledge from all the quest lines. There's several NPCs at Port Rat, and this is kind of going back to Port Rat. There's a lot to do at Port Rat itself. You're going to be able to access the marketplace at Port Rat. There's a storage in Port Rat. You have your general vendors, you can repair your stuff at Port Rat. There's a wharf at Port Rat. So you could potentially get a lot done even if you're all the way over at Port Rat. So just a lot of exciting stuff in general. Tell me in chat right now what you guys think of this update, and are you guys already planning guild content around this? Are you guys already getting your guilds to go sea monster hunting, or yeah, let me know. There's just so much. Looks fun, nice. Stuff and things, yes. There's a lot of stuff and things in this content update. Let's see, anything else? Some guilds are preparing. Nice. All right. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of sea monster content in general. I definitely recommend, if you're going to start sea monster hunting, prepare. There's a lot to prepare. Make sure you build those ships. There's gonna be a lot of logs required. I know that's the biggest thing. You're gonna need a lot of logs. So I would start chopping trees immediately. And in a second, we're actually gonna talk about events. There's actually a lot of events, so many events that it might even take longer to get through the events than the content I just got through. But one of the events will help you with logs. We'll go over that. But yeah, I would definitely prepare building your ships, and start sailing the ocean immediately. If you have never gone in the Margoria Sea, or have never seen any content regarding the Margoria Sea, I'd highly recommend just feeling it out. Sail to Port Rat and back. Make sure you can confidently get there, because it is. If you don't go in a direct straight line, it's pretty easy to get turned around if you don't have a sense of direction. And that might just be me speaking from experience, but I just don't have any sense of direction at all. So just like the desert, it's pretty easy to get lost, especially if there's no visual cues of where you're going. At least the desert, there's some structures that are memorable that you can use to figure, there's a giant crescent ring. I must be by crescent ring, the crescent area. But the sea is all you have is a few shipwrecks, and that's about it. So it can be really easy to get lost out there. But and I believe there's also some of the shipwrecks out in the middle of the sea also give you knowledge. So if you're one of those knowledge hunters trying to get max energy, or even just fill out the knowledge in general, you're definitely going to want to go explore these shipwrecks and figure out everything that there is out there to do. So yeah, and there's going to be a lot more in the patch notes as well, because I'm just trying to go over the most important aspects. But if you're interested in the Ranger changes, or Valkyrie changes, or Berserker changes, those will be included in the patch notes after the maintenance. So yeah, there's a lot to go through as far as class specifics and bug fixes and quality of life updates, but it'll all be in there in the patch notes if you're really curious on every single thing that has been changed. So yeah, and I think I mentioned it earlier, but just in case, there will be a Margoria GM note with even further information. So if something you're looking for is not in the patch notes and you forget what was said in stream, or if you're looking for additional information, make sure you check out the GM note, as that will describe how to craft the boats in Margoria, which will be important if you need to craft a boat and sail to Margoria. So yeah, that is a lot to take in, a lot to do in Margoria. And and something else I kind of skipped over is, yes, there'll be sea monsters and pirate ships. There's also going to be another enemy that you may encounter in the ocean. I believe this will appear randomly while you're sailing through the ocean, but the Margoria Phantom ships. Now, I thought this was the coolest concept. Margoria Phantom ships will mysteriously pop out from underwater randomly while you're sailing right next to you. Now, when this happens, don't freak out. You're not going to be able to just sail away. It'll actually kick you off of steering the boats, and you'll have to fight off these phantoms before you can get away. So I believe some monsters may spawn on your ship. You might have to defend your ship and kill them. But most importantly, you want to use your cannons to fight off the phantom ship, to destroy it, so that way you can freely get away. So definitely keep cannonballs on you at all times. If you see a phantom ship, hop on those cannons, fire as fast as possible, get those down, and hopefully you'll be free to sail away. And I believe the drops that the phantom ship will drop will be of great interest. So definitely recommend trying to kill them, of course, especially since you may have to get away, but it'll be worth your time, trust me. So that is a majority of what you're going to see in the ocean. Of course, the biggest thing is leveling up your sailing life skill itself, as that's what will give you additional skills for your boats, which, yeah, it's going to take a long time to craft them, but logs. Get a lot of logs and you'll be fine. So, now we have a lot of updates. I actually have, I think it's I have 14 pages of updates to go over as far as events. So one by one, I'll try to look through the events, tell you guys the most important aspects of them. But of course, if you're looking for dates and times and specifics of every event, make sure you check the patch notes after the maintenance, and the info will all be there. So for the first event of many, many events, we have the Hard Times of Petrigio. So if you guys know the Night Vendor events that we normally have, same kind of deal. When the Night Vendor appears, I believe it's from 22, or I believe that's 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. in-game time, which of course is much faster than real-life time. So based on the in-game time when Night Vendor appears, same old deal. The Night Vendor will offer you rare stuff, but instead of for 50 energy, it'll actually be for 25 energy. So if you're shopping through the Night Vendor, you'll be able to get double the items. Of course, it's all random, just like normal. Nothing's changed as far as what you get, but you'll be able to purchase double the amount of rolls for items from the Night Vendor because it costs less energy. So that's always exciting. The next up event is Make Your Wish, which is a follow-up of the Hot Time and Golden Bell events. So this event will give you combat experience plus 100%, skill experience plus 20%, as well as a 24-hour Golden Bell that will be rung on all servers. So that's going to be huge, including Olvia for this one. So that's going to be really cool. And this is going to be, all the events and times for each region will be on maintenance. So basically from June 10th to the 23rd or 24th, depending on your region. It just all has to do with time zones, but the time is the same for all regions, don't worry. And on top of that, there's also a different event. Don't get this confused, as this is a different event entirely, but Train to be the Best. Now, similarly to the last event, this event will give you common experience plus 100% and skill experience plus 30% instead of 20% this time. Sounds similar, right? It's the same kind of event, but this will actually stack with the previous event. So 100% experience will stack with the previous 100% experience, as well as a 30% skill experience will stack on top of the 20% skill experience from the last one. So a lot of experience. Now this one won't be, the times are not exactly the same. The Train to be the Best event will be from Friday through Monday, I believe. Well, actually, it'll be on weekdays and the weekends. It just has different time slots for each one. Again, the times are different for each region, but there's going to be a lot of overlap between these two events, so don't be confused. They stack. There's a lot to gain from these two events. The Train to be the Best event actually is not going to be applied on the Olvia server, but the previous event, the Make Your Wish follow-up, will be. So if you're playing specifically on the Olvia server, just be aware the Train to be the Best event is separate, and that one event will not be on the Olvia server. So yes, lots and lots of experience. Definitely take advantage of that if you can, especially if you're trying to grind to hit a certain level, which may be relevant for another event coming up. We have so many events. Now, this one actually relates to sailing. We have the Setting Sail event. So Filiberto's workers are pretty lazy every single day, and because of that, he's going to be asking for help. So if you go to Etheria, he will have a quest for you, a daily quest. Now, this quest can only be completed once a day per family, so no matter what character you use, you can only do it once a day. And basically, you just have to help Filiberto take his luggage or package and deliver it to Sebastian. So this is going to be a really important event because the rewards are really useful. So the options are standardized timber squares, jade coral ingots, pine coated plywood, or just pine plywood. Now, you can choose any of those, but I'd highly recommend to get the jade coral ingots because these are probably the most useful of the events. So I think the people behind the camera are trying to tell me something, but I can't read that, so just letting you know. But yeah, so the sailing event to deliver Filiberto's package, I would definitely do that every single day if you're planning on getting a boat, and if you really want to get probably the most rare of the rewards, I would go for the jade coral ingots, because at least in my experience, those were the hardest to obtain. So that was just one of many events. So we also have Sir Bianca's vouchers. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier as far as logs. This is probably going to be one of the most important events if you're trying to build the sailboat, as this will give you even more logs. So basically, Sir Bianca's vouchers will be gathered through gathering. You just go out in the world, gather whatever. Hopefully you're gathering logs if you're trying to get logs for the ship, but I believe you can just gather whatever you want and you will get these vouchers. And 2 vouchers equals 1 log. So if you're chopping logs, you get these vouchers. That basically just means you have even more logs. Make sure you use these vouchers during the events to get those logs, and you should be set. It should make your time getting all these logs very easy. So, more events. More events. I know this is a lot to take in, but there's so much content to talk about today. The next event is to dive into the ocean blue. All you guys have to do is check out the loyalty shop. If you have even 1 loyalty, which hopefully everyone does, you can get the Didum diving suit set. Kind kind of butchered that name, but it is the diving set. It gives you underwater breathing plus 30 seconds, swimming speed for plus 90% for 7 days. So definitely go out and get this event, the Dumb Diving Set. Even though it's only 7 days, it will give you access to so much and allow you to swim through the ocean faster, dive underwater faster, and give you a taste of what the outfit has to offer. So definitely helps, especially if you're going to be doing underwater gathering. So definitely recommend go check out the loyalty shop, get that after the maintenance, and you'll be set. Only 1 loyalty, so very cool. The next event we have is the special gift for new adventurers. So if you haven't played the game in 30 days, or if you're just creating an account for the first time, we'll have additional rewards for any new adventure or returning adventure. And so this includes mini rewards for different levels that you reach. The first one is actually really cool. So when you hit level 15, you actually get a naughty dog pet, which is really cool. So the first event, or the first reward, is the naughty dog for level 15. There are several other rewards for leveling up, and once you hit level 60 or 61, or for 60 you'll get the Shikatu luxury box, and for 61 you'll get the advice of Valks plus 50. There's even more rewards, but I'll let you guys look at the patch notes for that. So yeah, on to the next updates. Oh yeah, so just quick notice about the hot time. The hot time does not stack on the Olvia server. So yeah, I mentioned that some of the events were not going to be on the Olvia server, so just wanted to throw that out there in case I misspoke. The hot time does not stack specifically on the Olvia server, of course, because the event, one of the events does not actually happen on the Olvia server, but should be fine for all the other servers. So if you're playing specifically on the Olvia server, just wanted to mention that. But yeah, okay, quick notice about that. Moving on, we have, like I said, lots of events. We're still going events. This one is actually the guild attendance event. So make sure you guys are in a guild with 31 or more members, and you'll be able to access the guild attendance rewards. Now, these, just like the normal attendance rewards, are free rewards you get from logging in every day. This one will be specifically for only people that are in a guild with 31 or more members. But as long as you're in a guild with 31 or more members, you'll be able to get all the rewards for free, just for logging on every day, and they'll be sent to you. So I guess we could look at some of the rewards. On day 3, I'll just go over the ones that stand out to me. On day 3, only the 3rd day of this event, you'll actually get a Kydex Adventure Crystal. Now, if you know what this is, really good item. Kydex Adventure Crystals are event only, to my understanding. I don't think you can get them any other way other than through events, so you really have to be playing during an event to get these items, and they're a little bit different than all the other crystals in the game. As far as their stats, they're not exactly the same as any other crystal. So if you're looking for the Kydex Adventure Crystals, definitely go through this event, get a guild, get that reward. So just thought that would be really important to mention, as these crystals are quite rare, and even if you have an abundance of them, if you break them, they're event only, so you can't just go buy them all the time. So yeah, be aware of that. Kind of important for the people that are looking for those crystals, maybe not so for people that already have them or don't want them. But yeah, that's only on day 3. There's a lot of other stuff, item collection scrolls, crystal extraction scrolls, all that good stuff. The last 2 rewards are probably the best. On day 27, you get a fine accessory box, and on day 28, you get a value pack for 7 days. Oh, and on day 26, you also get a cuckoo bird pet. So yeah, even though you get a Kydex Adventure Crystal on day 3, I would definitely see through the end of this event all the way to day 28 to get all the rewards that I mentioned, as well as several other rewards I haven't even mentioned because there's just so many. So yeah, that was a lot of stuff to take in. There's a lot of events there. There's a lot of content in Margoria. It's almost time to wrap it up, but I'm really curious on what you guys think about this content, what you guys want to know about as far as like the sea monsters and sailing mechanics and all that stuff. Maybe I can answer some questions here. But yeah, someone's asking to actually answer some questions. Yeah, if you guys have some good questions, chat is going so fast, but I want to get through all the content, so hopefully maybe I answered some of the questions there, but Let's see. Yeah, I mean, you guys. I need some questions, guys. There's so many people are talking. I'm looking for Margoria related questions. Let's see. Yeah, and I think it was mentioned, some of the moderators in Twitch chat were mentioning that the stream, there were some technical difficulties that we were not able to fix as far as streaming to YouTube, but hopefully we'll have this all recorded and uploaded to YouTube after the stream, so if you really want to view this on YouTube or just want to see it after the fact, it should be there, just live. Today it had to be on Twitch, so that is a thing, I should mention that. Let's see here. Yeah, a lot of questions, specifically about Margoria though is what I'm looking for. Sorry guys. I'm just trying to look for questions I can answer, and I'm not entirely sure specifically on what's going to be included in the future as far as some of these questions, but if you guys are wondering about Veil, actually, Veil is coming in a later update, so not specifically this update, but Veil will be coming. That was one of the questions. The codes, by the way, at the end of the stream will be for both Xbox One and PS4, so if you're looking for a code or wondering what console will be, it'll be on both, and they'll be revealed in just a few minutes here. So, yeah. Also, there's some updates. There's going to be included updates in the patch notes as well as far as there's going to be more Valencia quests, as well as I talked about a bit about the class balance. Cycria is not going to be included in this update. That's another thing that will probably be coming in the future, but the Cycria underwater content is completely separate from Margoria. So if you guys were a bit confused as far as like, is Margoria including the Cycria underwater like grinding spots or not, they are completely separated as far as like it's not included in the Margoria update, but it will be coming eventually. So that should hopefully clear up that answer. Let's see. A lot of people are asking about will the Furious Sailboat be included in the Shikatsu coins? I'm not entirely sure on this one. I'll have to specifically look up what the answer to that is. I want to say yes. I believe it will be a thing, but to know for sure, I'll have to look up after the stream, and I'll post about it in Discord as well. So that's a question that I've seen asked a lot. Of course, it may be included in the patch notes tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll know. Yes. So, let's see. Questions about the ocean content in general. So if you guys are a bit confused on what Margoria is, just like a reminder, the Margoria Ocean is the entire ocean from Pirate Island to Port Rat. So that entire area, basically any part of the ocean where your minimap disappears is like the Margoria Ocean. And of course at the very end when your minimap comes back, you're in like Port Rat territory. So that is a huge portion of content. It's the entire ocean. So if you guys are wondering like where is the Margoria Ocean or what part of the ocean that is, it's the entire thing basically. It's as soon as your minimap disappears to the second it comes back at the Port Rat area. So that is a lot of stuff. Let's see. Anything else? You guys have any other questions specifically regarding Margoria? Ask me now. Let me know. Are we going to be able to level sailing? Yes. So I said earlier that the sailing life skill will be included. You'll be able to level up sailing. Specifically, the people that drive the boats, the people that are controlling the boat, will be the ones that gaining sailing experience, but only when you're sailing in Margoria. So the portion of when your minimap disappears, that will be where you actually level up the sailing life skill, as well as possibly some daily quests in the future. So if you're looking to level up sailing, you're going to have to sail a lot in the Margoria Ocean and kill a lot of sea monsters. So, and there's always someone in chat that asks, is this pre-recorded? No, this is not pre-recorded. I'm reading your guys' chats. But yeah, just specifically looking for Margoria questions. That's why. I'm not going to answer all the questions that I don't have answers to, as far as like unrelated questions. But if you guys have Margoria questions, sailing questions, Etheria Sailboat questions, let me know.
Sailing daily quests.
Yes, so I believe there may be some sailing daily quests in the beginning. I vaguely remember that there's one of the key sailing quests I think that most people talk about is the one where you go from Port Rat and you actually get the option to choose like where to go. And so like there's different options of the same daily quest. You can either go to like a place like Olvia, which is pretty easy to get to from Port Rat, or if you choose one of the harder ones, I think the hardest one is to go all the way to Valencia. You have to carry this package from Port Rat all the way to Valencia, and that's the one that gives the most sailing experience. So yeah, that is something that may be in the game tomorrow, and if it is probably one of the best ways to get sailing experience is by utilizing these daily quests. I believe also more daily quests for sailing will be added over time, so definitely keep a lookout for all the sailing daily quests available because, yeah, I believe the best way to get sailing experience on top of sailing is actually doing the daily quest every single day. And then, of course, after you complete those, if you still want to grind out even more sailing experience, at that point you'd go in the ocean and just sail around. So definitely important to keep note of as far as like what sailing daily quests are available and trying to get that sailing up as fast as possible so when you do get to skilled sailing or the higher level of sailing, you can actually use your sailing skills and travel the ocean faster. So
Got another question.
Okay. So someone asked, can we upgrade our sailboats? Yes. So I believe you'll be able to buy green sailboat gear off the bat from a vendor, and I'm not entirely sure if it'll be in the game tomorrow or not, but soon, eventually, there'll be blue sailboat upgrades, and these upgrades you'll actually have to craft, and they're very difficult to craft. So I definitely start preparing for those and make them when you can, as they will definitely greatly increase your sailing capabilities and most importantly the strength of your cannons itself, which will help with killing the sea monsters. So even before the blue gear, you might want to upgrade things like your cannons, etc., to kill sea monsters faster. And very, very important. I believe it goes up to plus 10. It's kind of like upgrading fishing rods in the sense of how you upgrade them, like the enhancing process. And of course, you might not be able to get all the way to plus 10, but getting to plus 7 is definitely going to be very advantageous. So I definitely recommend doing that if you want to go sea monster hunting regularly. Let's see. I believe, will we get Khan sea monster? I believe the Khan, I think, because like Khan is like the sea monster boss, so I believe Khan Vale will come later on, so you guys will just have to stay tuned with that. But how many new boats? There's going to be an Etheria Sailboat, an Etheria Frigate, and the Guild Galley. So the sailboat and frigate are both able to be created by yourself on your own, and you can sail it on your own, whereas the Guild Galley you'll actually have to work together as a guild to create, so it's very different. The sailboat and the frigate, the differences there is the sailboat actually only has 2 cannons, 1 on each side, and the frigate has double that, so 2 on each side, aka 4 cannons. So you can't really make use of it if you're sailing alone, but if you want to sail with friends, then the frigate might be the way to go to have those extra cannons, the extra firepower, and yeah, they'll both have actually their own unique armor. So another question is, can the ship be repaired if it's destroyed? Yes. So these boats, unlike the fishing boat, actually are permanent. So if it is destroyed, the durability goes to 0. It will drive extremely slow, pretty much undrivable, but you can go to any wharf, you can even remote collect it and repair it. I actually think remote collecting it when it has health will actually destroy it. Much like when you remote collect a horse, the horse's energy will be gone, but of course, once it's in the wharf, you can just repair it for a fee and sail back out. On top of that, I believe there's going to be some new sailing items as well, because your ship will have energy and like a health or durability. So there's kind of 2 different like stats that you have to be aware of. You have to be aware that your ship doesn't break, but you also need like ship energy so that way your ship can sail at full speed. I believe there will be some more craftable items as in the same place where you actually craft these ships. So you might want to take advantage of that when you're like, if you're going to be sailing for a long period of time, if you're going to sea monster hunt for a long period of time before going to the docks, you might need these items to continue on sailing. So yeah, really, really important there as far as like, if you're going to go be a hardcore sea monster hunter. So, alright, let's see. A few more questions and then I will give you guys the codes. Someone asked if there are going to be new cannonballs. I think they might be referring to the fact that there's cannonballs that you can be used on like a separate cannon. I believe the answer to this is that there will be different cannonballs because the sailing cannonballs are a bit different than the cannonballs you use to kill some field bosses. So if that's what you're referring to, then yes, I believe you will need the cannonballs that go on the sailboat ships, which will probably be sold by the same vendor that sells all the other sailing stuff like the green armor and all of that. So let's see. All right. Any other inferior questions? Margoria questions? Sailing questions? A lot of people are asking about cron meals and draughts. So this, I've seen this come up a lot, and actually we had someone get the answer to this midstream. This is not going to be in this update actually, but we will be announcing them in a future stream for a future patch. So that's confirmed, official answer right there. So a lot of people asking about that, and just got the answer for that. Apologies if that's what the main question you're looking for, but yeah, so it won't be in this update, this maintenance specifically, but it is coming, confirmed, and we'll have more information about that next time. So yes. But yeah, these are some great questions, so keep them coming. Let's see here. Yeah, I see some repeat questions. Make sure you guys, if you guys missed the beginning of the stream, I talked a lot about like the Margoria content as a whole. So make sure you guys rewatch as far as that. I don't want to explain everything over again, of course, but it will be there if you guys are looking for that. So, let's see. I think that's about it. Can you find things diving other than just knowledge? So yeah, there's actually, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but there's going to be a lot of underwater gathering content. So there's going to be a lot of new resources that you can only get by underwater gathering. Some of these are actually required to build some of the guild galley and some of the future upgrades for your Ethereal sailboats. So underwater gathering will actually be very important. Of course, you may be able to get some of these items off the marketplace, but most likely you'll want to actually gather some underwater breathing gear and go underwater yourself. There's different locations that will have more underwater gatherable resources than others, so you might want to find like your gathering rotation, just like every other thing you want to gather. I know that there's near Port Rat, there's definitely a lot of coral and oysters that you can gather, as well as near Pirate Island is probably one of the best, but also realize that these can be contested with other players, so you want to plan for getting the most amount of items, but you also want to plan for other like players also gathering these items, so just be aware of that. But it will be pretty important to actually underwater gather. All right. Yeah, more questions about Veil. Veil's not coming in this update, but will be soon in a future updates. And let's see. I think that is about it. We covered a lot of content. There's a lot of other stuff. How would you compare the difficulty level of sailing compared to other life skills? That's a really good question, actually. The sailing life skill is a really, really unique life skill. As far as the difficulty of sailing, I would definitely say it's a lot more complex than other life skills in general, because the sailing life skill, if you really want to utilize it and like level it up, you're gonna have to go out of your way to build an inferior sailboat or inferior frigate, etc., and that's gonna require a lot of resources. So just to get into sailing, it's gonna take a lot of time and investment. Now, once you have an inferior sailboat, you got some upgraded armor, you're ready to go out sea monster hunting, you still have to sea monster hunt. Now, I guess you could just sail around and not sea monster hunt, just level up your sailing on its own, but most likely you'll probably be leveling up the sailing life skills, so that way you can get the sailing skills and thus be better at sea monster hunting. So if you really want to get into sea monster hunting, of course, it takes a bit of practice to be able to kill sea monsters, especially if you're doing it alone, it is very, very challenging. Now, if you're just going to go out as like a fleet of 10 ships and just kill some sea monsters, it might not be so bad. You might not have to worry so much. But yeah, if you're planning on like actually getting into sailing and sea monster hunting yourself and pulling in a lot of sea monster loot, then yeah, it's not difficult per se, but it's a lot of time investment and learning involved as far as like actually getting out there, actually killing sea monsters, and all that. So that's compared to like gathering, where you just get like a gathering tool and start gathering instantly. Like there's no setup, there's no challenge to gathering, etc. Whereas this is a lot more involved. So I don't know if it would be difficult per se, but there is a lot to sailing. So, sailing is really, really complex. This whole update is pretty interesting as it adds a lot of new content, a lot of things that is not seen anywhere else. Let's see.
I don't know this one.
Let's see. Any other questions before I end? Every time I say this, you guys give me a good question, so I'll keep checking. Do we get bartering? No, bartering is not going to be in this update, from my understanding. But yes, eventually. There's a lot of content in Margoria itself. A lot of these other things are planned in their own content updates, like Secret Ruins and all of the sea monster bosses. Those will all be coming in at later updates because Margoria itself is a huge update. You know, we want people to be like out there with their sailing boats, leveling up sailing before we just start dropping bosses on you guys. So hopefully you guys can use this time to get your sailboats, leveling up your sailing, and by the time these different content updates come out, you should be a lot better prepared than if we were to drop it tomorrow. So, anything else?
What?
Underwater gathering. Does it go off your gathering level, or is it separate? That's actually a really good question as well. Underwater gathering is just like regular gathering, so it does go off your regular gathering skill. If you have your regular gathering skill up, it'll give you the same benefits as if you were to gather anything else. The only thing that really separates underwater gathering from regular gathering is that it's underwater, and that the underwater breathing effect that you can get from various different pieces of gear will be really detrimental in how much you can gather and how fast, because you have to dive all the way to the ocean floor to gather these new resources. So you'll have to surface eventually. And most likely you're gonna want to gather quite a lot. So the less you have to surface, the faster you can get these items. So that's the main key difference between underwater gathering. Otherwise, it's basically the same as everything else. Yeah, these are really, really good questions. You guys are awesome today. How long to swim from Port Rat to Velia? I've done this before. Very, 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 very long time. Yeah, actually, my first experience trying to sail to Port Rat, actually, from Velia, this is before I had the Furious Sailboat. I was one of those naive players that I was like, oh, I'm just going to use my fishing boat and it'll be fine. Within not even getting 10% into the Margoria Ocean, my fishing boat was quickly destroyed, and because I was so stubborn, I decided to just keep swimming, and yes, it will take a while. If I had to guess, probably over an hour. I don't know the exact time of swimming from Velia to Port Rat, but highly, highly, highly recommend you either, if you really want to see Port Rat, jump on a ferry, or if you can, build a Furious Sailboat or jump on a friend's Furious Sailboat, as even if you were to swim, there are still sea monsters on the way. So you're probably going to have to swim under the sea monsters, and there's a very high chance that you could die while swimming or on a fishing boat, so highly wouldn't recommend doing that unless you are well prepared. We are actually sending, off topic a little bit, but we are going to be sending the Heidel Ball gifts during this maintenance. So this includes the Special Scrolls ×5, the Cronstones ×1060, Valk's Advice +100, as well as the T7 Horse Emblem Box. So yeah, if you guys were wondering about that, all the Heidel Ball rewards that I just listed will be there this maintenance, so you'll see all those tomorrow. So yeah, that's pretty important. Hope you guys are excited about that. That's a lot of Cronstones. Like, what are you guys gonna do with that? Go for pens? I feel like I should, but I feel like I'll fail, so we'll have to see about what I do. But yeah, I'm really curious on what you guys do. as far as the cronstones and all that. Let's see, anything else that you guys want to know? I think that's
Let's go to the
about
code.
it. Yeah, alright, it is time for the code. Let's give the code. That's a lot of questions. Code will be below. It's Play Margoria, and you can use this on both Xbox One and PS4. The code will be the same for everyone, so just be aware of that. Feel free to claim your code to get your free rewards, and that would be pretty awesome. Also, just a notice here, just so you guys are aware, there's going to be no maintenance on the 24th. So instead of having a maintenance, we'll just have more events in place of the maintenance. So stay tuned for that. There's going to be a lot of information. Of course, all the patch notes we went over today, in addition to the GM's note that I haven't even touched on, will all be on the website, on our official website, and there'll be notifications in Discord, of course. But yeah, just be aware that there's not going to be a maintenance on the 24th. But in addition to all of the events that I went through, which was a lot of events, we'll have even more events in place of that maintenance. So there's a lot of content to play through, a lot of sea to sail through, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I'm super excited to see the content you guys make. So yeah, if you guys are making YouTube content, you're streaming like your sailboat creation process, or if you're sea monster hunting, definitely send me some links over on Discord. I'd love to see them. Make sure you guys, if you haven't already, follow this Twitch channel for more Black Desert console content. And yeah, I think that's about it. Thanks everyone for having me, and I think we'll see you guys later. Bye!